Experts on such matters think so, and have all the details and receipts that show Donald Trump taking himself down coming up next. In researching this story for you, I discovered that there's actually two stories with the phrase impeachable offense at their core that are trending today. Let's first look at the New York mayor's race, where the unfiltered and unhinged Trump has set himself up for the ultimate charge of misconduct, and then what he did as commander-in-chief of calamity and chaos. The mayor's story came to my attention via a headline that was all over X that read, "Is this even legal? Trump just named who he'll punish next." And his latest unhinged post set off a firestorm over his most impeachable offense yet. The Atlantic Black Star article by A.L. Lee went on to say,
President Donald Trump's latest online rant is sparking fresh outrage and accusations of openly committing another impeachable offense. In a fiery post shared on Truth Social, Trump once again mixed political threats with personal insults. But this time, his words carried an unmistakable message about who he plans to target next and how. Early Friday morning, Trump boasted he would block federal funds for New York City if Democratic mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani wins office in November. Self-proclaimed New York City communist Zohran Mamdani, who is running for mayor, will prove to be one of the best things to ever happen to our great Republican Party, Trump wrote on September 29. Adding, he is going to have problems with Washington like no mayor in the history of our once great city. Remember, he needs the money from me as president in order to fulfill all of his fake communist promises. He won't be getting any of it. So what's the point of voting for him? This ideology has failed always for thousands of years. It will fail again, and that's guaranteed. President DJT.
The article then cited many examples of the public's uproar over Trump's impeachable actions, but also went on to say one user was a bit more cynical.
I'm afraid that Americans need to realize there is nothing that is an impeachable offense unless you have majorities in both houses. That is the failing of your Constitution. It helps and provides safety for the powerful, rich, and corrupt. Face it, that's how it was always intended to work.
Trump likes to say, you don't have the cards, I have all the cards, and for now that's true. But what if Democrats take back the House in 2026? One estimate I've seen said he has already accumulated 24 impeachable offenses, and this our featured story might just be the most egregious one of all. It came to my attention in a Raw Story article entitled, "Impeachable. Experts sound alarm after Trump's Nat speech."
But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens that pour into the country. And, you know, I have a bigger heart than they do. But the problem is when you do that, they come in by the millions. Everybody wants that, so you can't do it.
Political and national security analyst and well-known veterans advocate Paul Rieckhoff called the president's Nat remark wrong, outrageous, shameful, and disgusting. These are lines that should never been crossed, he warned, and have never been crossed. But he keeps crossing them. Never let them normalize how wrong it is to attack political opponents when speaking to a military audience. Rieckhoff added, this is impeachable behavior. But not a single member of Congress has the courage to make the case, and it's getting worse fast. Juliette Kayyem is a senior public policy lecturer and the faculty director of the Homeland Security Project and the Security and Global Health Project at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, as well as a CNN senior national security analyst and a contributor to The Atlantic, according to her bio. She wrote, "Take care of is not subtle. This weekend, the ground has shifted, and no person can deny what the president, unpopular and unfit, intends. To remain silent is to welcome this. They can both sides or claim they didn't hear, but there is no wiggle room about his plans now." Stanford professor of international studies and political science, Michael McFaul, a former U.S. ambassador to Russia, remarked, "In front of this audience, this statement is wrong and scary. He is supposed to be the president of the United States of all Americans, not just his party. Polarization is destroying our country at home and making us weaker abroad."
Those are just the highlights. For the full story, please visit the Raw Story website. He is well known for using pretext as a persuasion tactic. He sells his batshit crazy ideas by wrapping them in a candy coating that feels digestible right before he makes you gag on a jawbreaker. Have a listen to his pretext for turning the military into Trump's urban strike force.
San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. I told Pete we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military.
It is well known that Hitler often used enemy from within propaganda to stir division and rally his supporters against his made-up enemies. So this is crazy talk, right? Congresswoman Madeleine Dean definitely thinks so. Watch as she brutally confronts Mike Johnson over what Trump said. And on the other side, can and will generals disobey his orders?
The president is unhinged. He is unwell. What are you doing? A lot of folks
on your side are too. I don't control.
Oh my God, please. That performance in front of the generals? That
I didn't see it.
is so dangerous. You know I serve on Foreign Affairs and Appropriations. This is a collision of those two things. Our allies are looking elsewhere. Our enemies are laughing.
I just left
You
the
have a
speaker's
president who...
From within, they talked about these silly rules of engagement. When you're in the military, and you know this better than I do, but I've worked with a member of they serve the commander-in-chief. They report to him. They do what he orders. And I just wonder if we're in just a different moment where there should be some questioning. Or how do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was really disheartening. I received a text from a person who I served with before, and he said to me, he said, you know, it's normal to disagree with the commander-in-chief. He said, but I don't know if it's normal to be embarrassed by him. Mm-hmm. And he said, and I'm embarrassed. You know, and when we take the oath, we take the oath that we are going to follow the Constitution of the United States of America, and we will follow the lawful orders of the commander-in-chief. It's the same thing, and it's the same very humble responsibility that I take as the commander-in-chief of the Maryland National Guard. That I know that the Maryland National Guard and the Maryland Air Guard, they move on the command of the commander-in-chief, that I'm giving them lawful orders. But I also think there's a confidence amongst the members of the Maryland National Guard and the Maryland Air Guard is that I would only ever give lawful orders. And that's the struggle that I think for a lot of members of the military, they're figuring right now. We will follow the commands of our commander-in-chief. That's the oath that it took. When they're lawful. And I think there's a lot of people who right now, when they heard the words from the commander-in-chief yesterday about talking about using American cities as training grounds, they're not receiving lawful orders. In fact, they're receiving orders that are in direct violation of the U.S. Constitution and of U.S. law. And so this is what is making this moment so tricky. It's not just the fact that, you know, hearing Pete Hegseth, ridicule people about merit is really rich when he is the most unqualified Secretary of Defense that this country's ever seen. But it's past that. It's that we are hearing from our commander-in-chief about instructions that he is giving to the members of our military that are not just nonsensical, they're unlawful. And that puts the members of our military in a really complicated situation.
What can they do?
They don't have to follow them. We have to follow lawful orders. We follow the instructions of our commander-in-chief. We follow the Constitution of the United States of America. But I cannot stress enough that word lawful matters. And in fact, we are told you do not have to follow unlawful orders. And so I think this becomes a really challenging moment for the members of our military when you usually have the ability to trust that the orders that you are getting are lawful. I think if we have seen anything from the precedent of this Trump administration, that is not always a guarantee nor a prerequisite for the decisions and the orders that they're given.